Have you been wanting to start a garden but you feel overwhelmed, confused, or like you're just gonna kill everything? Then this video is for you. If this is the first time you're seeing my face, hello, my name is Valadia, and I am a single mother of two beautiful daughters living in Midwest Georgia, turning my 8-acre homestead into an oasis. Today, I'm going to help you get all of the fear and confusion out of gardening. This is for my beginners. You do not need to know everything, you just need to know where to start, and that's what we're gonna learn today. There is a lot of overwhelming information out there. I want to keep it incredibly simple. We're not going to be talking about plant spacing and fertilizers and all the different type of technology that you can include in your gardening space. We're going to talk about the three basic things that God and Mother Earth have provided: sunlight, water, and soil. A very important thing that you need to know about before you start your gardening journey is your gardening zone. Stay with me, it's not complicated, you can handle this. Your gardening zone is gonna tell you when to plant, not if you can garden. It's very easy to Google. You can just Google and ask Google, what gardening zone are you in? You can also look up a gardening zone map so that you can see your country, your state, your province, your area, and it's gonna show you exactly what zone you are. So here in Georgia, I know that I'm in zone 8, and that's gonna tell me when I'm gonna get my last frost, so I know when to put my seedlings out and things like that. It's just important for you to know your zone. It's easily Googleable. Do not overthink this. Before you choose where you are going to garden, you want to think about father son. You're going to want to walk your yard, walk the area where you plan to garden, and watch it throughout the day, throughout the week, and make sure it gets at least 6 hours of full sun. Behind me is my brand new garden. I hope you guys stick around and follow along as I build this garden. The video before this talks all about this garden. I've blabbed on for a very long time about it, actually. So you'll learn about what I'm doing here. But this garden has lots of full sun because it's smack dab in the middle of my field. Remember, your garden lives and dies by sunlight. This is one of the 3 pillars of what today's video is: sun, soil, and water. So make sure you're getting full sun. Now on to the fun part. A lot of beginners will start with this part, which is the seeds and the seedlings, without measuring what your sun's looking like, where your spot is, all the things that we talked about before. So if you've made sure that you've gotten everything prepared and you know what you're doing, we're gonna move on to this part. Now there are 2 ways that you can start your garden: seeds or seedlings. This is my little seed organizer. If you've got a lot of seed packets, you can use this too. Just go on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description for this photo organizer that works really well for your seed packets. Starting with seeds is also slower, but it's gonna be cheaper, and it does provide for a little bit more of a reward because you started from absolute scratch. You can also start with seedlings. Now these are seedlings that I have germinated myself. These are sweet peas for anyone curious. But you can get seedlings from your local farm supply store, hardware store. I'm sure you've seen them in lots of different places. Many beginners are intimidated by the seed starting process, so they want to start with seedlings, and that is absolutely okay. You can go and get whatever plants you're interested in that you've researched and understood that work well for your area and your zone, and get those seedlings from the store or from someone local. Buying seeds is not going blind because there's a lot of information on every seed packet. It's going to tell you exactly how to plant it, how it likes to be planted. But since this is a beginner video and my goal is to take the fear out of gardening for you, you really don't have to listen to this that much. Like, what are our 3 pillars of today? Sun, soil, water. 90% of seeds are going to germinate with those 3 pillars lined up and in place. So take everything they say with a grain of salt, but if it feels overwhelming to you, just get it planted, girl. You may not have seen this method before, but I started my seeds this year with Ziploc bags. This is a regular 1-gallon freezer Ziploc bag that I have cut 3 holes in, 1 in the center and 2 on the edges. I've labeled the plant that I'm using, and the Ziploc bag acts as its own little greenhouse. So you can start this even when it's still cold outside. Make sure you've got some soil. Use seed starting soil if you want to. You don't even have to. I've started seeds in regular soil before, but make sure it's new and it's got some fertility to it, not some old soil from a potted plant you had 3 years ago. Put this in your Ziploc bag that's already got the holes in it. Drop your seeds in. I like to overseed and put a lot. Just, you could dump that whole packet if you want, but maybe not. And add a lot of water in the beginning, and you're gonna close it up about halfway. Keep it propped up. You can prop it up every day if you want, or you can use other methods to keep your bag propped up. I've got holes in here because I use small wooden dowels to shoot through the Ziploc bag and connect all of my Ziploc bags together. And there's something holding up the dowels on either end so that I've got them propped up consistently. You can also use clothespins to open up each bag and connect it to each bag so that your seedlings are getting some air and they're also receiving rain if it rains. So what did we learn so far? You can start with seedlings that you purchase, or you can start with a seed packet. Once you have gotten your seed packet planted, or you've got your seedlings that are already in small containers, you can keep those indoors. But if you're doing that, I recommend getting a grow light. Now we're moving out of the beginner phase. This is why I want to keep it simple. I prefer to keep them outside. It's a lot easier, and they're already starting to understand Mother Nature's rhythms and the sun's power. Now, this is important. No matter how you're starting your seedlings, whether you're using my Ziploc bag method or you're using a seed starting tray with a plastic top or something that you've gotten from your local store, pay attention to the freezes. I forgot that we usually have a couple of fake springs before we're in actual spring, and I had all my seedlings out, but we had one last freeze and I forgot to bring them in on that night, and a lot of them died and struggled. So I'm in phase 2 of rehabbing some of the seedlings that struggled, and also I had to start a lot of new ones. So don't be like me. You still might do it, but that's okay. Just pay attention to your freezes when you do have them outside. But them getting cold is a good thing. It's called cold stratification, but let's not make it too complicated. Anyway, now you can take this with a grain of salt. Listen if you want to. If you're a maximalist like me, you're gonna let this go in one ear and out the other. I recommend your first time to start with a small amount of plants, maybe 2 to 3 things, maybe under 5 things. I started with a lot, and that's okay. I just ended up wasting a lot of seeds and seedlings because it was a trial and error process. A few plants that are quite simple at germinating are your normal common kitchen herbs: basil, mint, cilantro, oregano. Those herbs germinate very easily and are most likely to take off and be quite beginner friendly. If you're wanting to grow something that fruits, tomatoes are so simple. That's why you see them in all sorts of stores and everywhere for beginner garden. Get you a couple varieties of tomatoes, bigger ones, cherry tomatoes, and that will make you really happy because tomatoes are gonna grow. And another plant that does really well if you've got some room are squashes and cucumbers, things that vine. So I recommend having these outdoors for sure. You can have them on a porch or a deck in a really big pot. Just know that they're gonna wanna vine out, so give them some space to vine up or sideways or something like that. But squash and cucumbers also do very well at germinating and doing their thing without too much hard work. Now that we talked about seedlings, where are you going to put those seedlings? Before we talk about what's called transplanting, which is moving your seedlings from their little nursery to the actual garden, we need to talk about what type of garden you have. There's about 3 different types to keep it really simple. You can do containers. That's a small pot, a medium pot, a really large pot, cloth pots, lots of different types of pots that you can use. Pots with wheels on them so you can move them around your porch or your deck or wherever you are. That's container gardening. Second, raised beds like you see behind me. There are all different shapes and sizes of raised beds. You can get small ones that are pretty shallow, which is financially a lot more easy to fill up with soil and whatever, or you can get really tall ones like I've got. Those are 32 inches tall because I'm tired after almost a decade of gardening of bending over, and I want this garden to age well with me. So I've got tall containers. Now, they can be costly because you're going to have, and time consuming because you're going to have to fill them properly, especially tall ones like this. You'll need logs, you'll need leaves, you'll need cardboard to properly layer them, and then lots of soil. So it's going to cost money. You can get shallow, smaller raised beds. What is great about raised beds? Controlling that environment. So the containers is the easiest. The raised beds is second easiest because you're able to add types of soil, uh, types of fertilizers if you want to move into fertilizers or giving your plants different foods, compost, things like that. You can really work with a container and controlling the environment. And the third and final type of garden I'll talk about today is in ground. Now, that's what we've seen since we were kids reading the farming books is in ground. But the reason why in ground growing can be the most difficult is because you're dealing with what Mother Nature's already got going on. So if you have your tomato plants competing with a lot of grass and a lot of weeds, the nutrients going to your tomato plants is now going to the grass and the weeds. You've got all sorts of microorganisms and little creatures that are a lot more likely to come and talk to your plants and eat your plants and destroy your plants. You've got to think about where you live and what the soil is like there. For example, I'm in Georgia. I've got this red, thick, hard clay that is going to hold a lot more moisture. That makes it difficult for me. So there's a lot to learn about gardening in ground, but if that's your only option, you can do it. It is not hard. Remember, sun, soil, and water. But you don't have to overthink it. I've got a 40 by 40-foot garden behind me, but that's not how I started. Let me show you how I started. We're standing in front of the garden that I've cultivated for the past 7 to 8 years. Now, this garden, as you can see, was an in-ground garden. Now, I did top it a little bit, but this was in-ground. As you can see in the pictures here, this garden performed really well for me. But one mistake that I made, let's bring it back all the way back to sunlight, is putting it here on the edge of the forest. Trees' roots are a little bit longer than the canopy of the tree. So if you see how wide a tree comes out, the roots are gonna go a little bit wider than that. Y'all, these roots are all underneath this garden. I did not clock that in the beginning, so they were stealing nutrients from my plants. I had to use a lot of fertilizers and compost and everything, and it was still a struggle. Additionally, sun, the trees, I did get an ideal, like an okay amount of sun, but it wasn't ideal. It wasn't a good like 6 to 8 hours like we want to aim for. So wanted to mention that, but transplanting is what we're talking about next. I want you to not be overwhelmed by the word transplanting. It sounds technical. It's so simple and almost intuitive. Just remind yourself that this lives in your bones. We dig a hole. We take our seedling. We drop it in said hole. We cover the roots. We water it. It's very simple. You're going to see a lot of gardening videos out there talking about what fertilizers and composters and this and that and what level to put it. Just plant it. It's going to be okay. Plants are incredibly resilient. Watering. This is a huge beginner mistake. Watering can be a lot more simple than you think. Stick your finger in the soil. Does it feel dry? It needs some water. Overwatering is probably the thing that kills plants the most. So keep in mind, even if you have to write it down, when you water that plant, check the soil. If it's feeling a little damp, it probably doesn't need water. When you transplant your seedlings, they might look like they need some help. Let them be. Give them the normal amount of water. They might sag a little bit for the first 2 or 3 days. It's just because they just moved into a new home and they're getting acclimated. They're meeting all the microorganisms, all the friends that are going to be their roommates. Give them a second. Now, this isn't beginner, but it can be beginner if you want it to be. If you're someone that's busy, like me, I'm a single mom, I've got a lot going on, you can get irrigation. It can be really easy. You can watch a video on irrigation. You can get something very affordable from Amazon or your local hardware store. That irrigation is just a line that's going to extend from your water hose so that you're not out in your garden every single morning watering. You can plug it into your water hose, turn the hose on, and you can even get a timer. We're going really far. We're going really far. Stay with me. You can get a timer that's going to turn on every morning and drip water into your garden. Or you can turn it on yourself and just allow the line to drip water all throughout your garden. That way you're not standing there having to do that every morning. Now that is going a little bit past our beginners, but I just wanted to mention it for those of you who have a busy lifestyle and are passionate about starting a garden, but intimidated by the time that it takes. You can still do this. I'm not going to tell you to expect failure because I want you to believe in yourself, but this is a trust building exercise in yourself and your ability to try something new and something that's really hard. But remember, we're working with God and Mother Nature, and this was already designed to go perfectly. So have some confidence in yourself, and remember that if you do kill a plant or two, it's okay. It doesn't mean that you're bad at this. You're just trying something new. I've been gardening for almost 10 years, and I have killed many, many plants. Some of them were just not destined to live a full life, and some of them were a learning experience, and it made for my next go around to go even better. I've been trying to help you feel safe, but if you are overwhelmed, we're gonna go over this again. Pick a sunny spot. Pick 2 to 3 things you want to grow. If you want, go to the hardware store and just get them already made into seedlings. Drop them in a hole, water them. You can do this. You do not need to know everything to start. You just need to have the bravery and confidence to start. And I hope hanging out with me today helped you feel a little bit closer to that first step. I am starting a fresh new garden from scratch this year, so you're here at the right time. Go ahead and subscribe so that you can follow along on my journey. So we're gonna jump in the garden now. Thanks for hanging out with us. Peace!